Hi, it's Peter Cook with the North Berrien Historical Museum. I'm here at Coloma Cemetery, which was established in 1835. Coloma Cemetery is located on Coloma Road west of Church Street. Unlike all the other townships in Berrien County, Coloma has only one cemetery. Coloma Cemetery is the final resting place for many pioneer citizens and veterans. A transcription conducted in the mid-2000s revealed over 4,000 names. The first burial in Coloma Cemetery was in 1848. You'll find many familiar names from the Coloma area in this cemetery. Amongst those are the Carter family, who donated the property that the North Berrien Historical Museum is now located on, the Strong family, who owns Strong's Resort on Paw Paw Lake, the Beck family, the namesake for Beck Road, Rhino, Wenzel, a lot of familiar names. We're going to focus as we go through our tour today on just a few key figures located in Coloma Cemetery. So let's get started. So the first stop on our tour of Coloma Cemetery is the headstone of Stephen R. Gilson, the founder of Coloma. He's buried here along with his wife Clarissa. Stephen Gilson was an upstate New York native who was on his way to Chicago when a chance encounter with a man named Levi Ballingy in a St. Joseph tavern led to a business partnership making shingles. So the two founded the settlement Shingle Diggings in this area on the Paw Paw River. And between the years 1834 and 1838, that's what they did. They made shingles. Out of this earliest industry came the village of Dickerville. To dicker was to barter, to trade. A lot of that went on in the area at the time. Gilson purchased considerable land in this area, but save for his son Warren, left his family behind in the year 1850 to pursue fortune in the California Gold Rush. While there, Gilson stayed near the town of Coloma, California. Gilson returned to Dickerville around the year 1855 and helped to rename the village Coloma. He stayed here the remainder of his life and is called the founder of Coloma on his headstone. His son Warren is buried nearby. Warren served in Company M, the 4th Regiment Michigan Cavalry in the Civil War. And it was actually Warren's wife Laura who suggested to her father-in-law Stephen Gilson the name Coloma. And Laura is buried right beside Warren. And that is the Gilson family. And we're going to move on. I'm now standing over the resting place of Sawyer Ball, important local businessman. Sawyer Ball was born in Boylston, Massachusetts in the year 1833. He moved west to Dowagiac in 1860. Then to Niles in 1862, and finally to Coloma in 1864. He married Susan Walker Hazen, and they had 4 children. Coloma was a small hamlet when Sawyer moved here, but he saw great possibilities and purchased a grist mill, and later started a factory for the manufacture of wooden eaves troughs. He also had a coal and lumber company, a lot of business holdings. Sawyer Ball established the first bank in Coloma in the year 1896. In the November of 1909, the bank was reorganized as the State Bank of Coloma, with Sawyer's sons William and Charles heading things up. The Sawyer Ball House, located at 127 North Paw Paw Street, is one of the oldest houses in Coloma, built around 1855, and it is listed on the State Register of Historic Sites. So that is Sawyer Ball. Here lies a real mover and shaker in northern Berrien County, Dr. William A. Baker, physician, teacher, supervisor of the township, state legislator, businessman, railroad builder, and postmaster, you name it. Dr. Baker also ran a drugstore, and he was instrumental in a lot of the big changes to Coloma. Resorters coming to Berrien County to access Paw Paw Lake and the various resorts and pavilions that began popping up around the late 1800s could get to Coloma on the train by way of the Paramarquette Railway, but to then reach the lake, there was a dusty road that was usually accessed by horse and buggy. Dr. Baker saw the need for a train to the resort area, and in 1896, he and other Coloma businessmen built a spur railway to the north shore of Paw Paw Lake, which was instrumental in turning the lake into a major tourist destination for Chicagoans. The train ran until 1908 and was succeeded by the interurban electric train. Dr. Baker also started the first water system in Coloma in 1908. He was also an inventor, receiving a patent on September 8, 1914 from the United States Patent Office for a combination door bolt. Dr. Baker was so important that he got a park named after him, Baker Park in downtown Coloma, which is located on land donated by Dr. Baker. All right, we are now joined by the three Furman girls, as they were known and as they called themselves. The name Furman was once very well known in Coloma for over 100 years. Locally, it has all but died out, yet the name carries on in other areas, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But let's first focus on the three Furman girls. The oldest was Cora Armenia, born in 1884. Cora was a cashier at the State Bank of Coloma for the better part of half a century, 38 years. Next is Marjorie Lind, born in 1890. Marjorie was a longtime music director and organist at Coloma Congregational Church, as well as a music teacher in Coloma. And last, but certainly not least, is Laura Marie, or Marie as she was known, born in 1894. Marie was an Army nurse for the Red Cross in World War I. That's why she has the veterans flag. She was also a nurse for Coloma Public Schools in the 1940s and 50s, and an assistant at the Davidson Funeral Home. Living modestly in their home on Jackson Court in Coloma, the three Furman girls accumulated enough in savings to donate the parlor called the Furman Room to Coloma Congregational Church. They did embroidery work and simple crafts for the church sales. They operated the rummage sale for many years for Congregational Church, and generally devoted their lives to good works. They all lived into their 80s and 90s, and none of the three Furman girls ever married. However, they did have other siblings. Their older sister, Harriet, married Louis Dorstowitz of Paw Paw, and many Dorstowitz in the Paw Paw area are descendants of this line. Their brother Fred moved to Indianapolis, and the Furmans in central Indiana are through his line. Another brother, John, was a cattle appraiser at the Chicago Union Stockyards Company and could judge a cow's weight within 5 pounds simply by looking at it. What a skill. And so that's just a little information on the very remarkable Furman family. Our last stop on the Coloma Cemetery Tour is at the Cullmans, Henry and Dora Cullman. Dora was from Coloma and Henry from Cincinnati. They met through mutual friends in Florida in 1926 and bonded very quickly. Their wedding was planned for December 3rd, 1927. Just before dinner, the two stood near a window, and suddenly a shot broke through the window and hit Henry in the head. Henry was rushed to a Benton Harbor hospital, and a secret wedding was held there on December 4th. Now the question is, why did this happen? Neither Dora or Henry had any enemies. The closest explanation they could find was that a cousin of Dora's was the intended target because of a love triangle that he was in, and Henry was mistaken for him by the gunman. No one was ever tried for the shooting. Henry recovered but was nearly 50% blind after the accident, and the Cullmans enjoyed more than 60 years of marriage. So that concludes our tour of Coloma Cemetery. Thank you very much for spending a little time with us. There's, of course, so many more names and so many more stories that can be found here. These are just a few of them. Please check out our other videos that we have available now on other cemeteries in the area. That about does it. Peter Cook with the North Berrien Historical Museum. Bye.